That's also, I have death grade props up here. If you're wondering what's up with the Hollow the Wise Wolf and the weird band, it's a very poorly made Durarara cosplay. Yeah. Anyways, I'll just let all these people shuffle in here. This is way more than I thought. And I'll be on my panel shortly. So, who here, actually I don't know what I was going to ask. Anyways, happy Halloween, everyone. Yep. I'm also 19 as of yesterday, so yeah. I like having my birthday on Youmacon weekend, it's fun. I need a passport. No, that's effort. Oh hey, people I recognize are finally coming in. Hello. Thanks for coming to my panel. Okay, how's everyone doing today? Okay, so I'm just gonna start this panel right off because every time I find myself, it's been like cutting it close, so I might speed through this one. Okay, so I've noticed a trend in anime cons that a lot of panels and stuff tend to do with anime, which makes sense, but also a lot of video games and live action stuff, and not a whole lot of panels dedicated solely to manga, and that's why I made this one. So this is what I love, or I'm going to ask a question, what I love, and that is manga. I love all sorts of manga. I love mainstream manga. Oh, wait a second. There we go. I love pretty popular, but not as mainstream manga. Oh, wait a second. There we go. I even like manga that's just utter trash. Oh, wait a second. There we go. So that's why I made the greatest manga, or this panel, the greatest manga you've never read. Except probably, I probably have read some of this manga, which at this point makes it probably seem like I'm making assumptions, which is really sorry. Yeah, if you've read like all these, that's impressive and you get some. Also, I'm no complete expert on manga. Like I know tons of friends that have read way more than me. So if there's some mangas that are really good that no one's read that I missed on the list, just come up here and tell me after the panel and I'll be sure to read them eventually. I don't know. Also, I'm going to quiz you if you've actually read all of them because like, I don't want to give away all my candy. Anyways, I'll introduce the manga, ask if anyone's read it, come up and get some candy if you have. I'll talk about why it's good, why you should read it, maybe go over why it's not popular. All the names when the episodes, or when the manga came out is going to be up, like, the date, or the year. Write down the stuff if you want more manga to read. Actually, I printed out a sheet of things, of like all the manga that's in the panel, plus other things. So come up here, get a sheet of paper, if you have to leave early and you want to know what's on this panel. And like, that's everything in this panel, even stupid side gags like I made with those mangas over here. I'll put them in the bag. No! Oh, okay. Anyways, so it was kind of hard to pick out a first manga, because there's a variety of different manga, like so many to count and so many in my panel. I didn't know where a good place to start was, so I just picked one at random and rolled with it. So, first up, there's a manga out there that actually a lot of people probably know about. And I'm not going to be talking about that too much in depth, but I'll be talking about this one people know about right now. This is a manga that's completely legendary. It's shrouded in mythos and like uncertainty and just some of the most unique forms of writing and some of the most high-spectacled forms of like entertainment imaginable. And it's called Zatch Bell. Now, I love Zatch Bell, but we're not going to be talking about Zatch Bell. We're going to be talking about his creator, Makoto Raikou. Now, this man is a god amongst men. Look at that face. That is a man who knows how to make manga. And he's made another manga recently, actually. Now, I'm going to start off by saying a lot of people have probably already seen this, a mascot of this manga. Whoops. This stupid little tanuki thing. So, if you read Attack on Titan, like scanlated, you'll notice that like the cover of the manga volumes, like Attack on Titan characters are on the cover of the magazines. They'll post that up, or with Arslan Senki. And so here's an example of one of those scans, and if you see up there, there's a stupid little tanuki thing. And he's, or she, is from the manga that was in this magazine and then basically became its mascot, which is the Butsu no Kuni, or Animal Land. Has anyone read this? You are awesome. Give them candy. Give those people candy too. Now, the Butsu no Kuni is basically just Japanese Tarzan, but not anything like that. It's about a young boy named Kurosa, who is basically cast aside by his family, who is then adopted by a young female tanuki named Momoko. And they have fun tanuki parties. They also grow together as a family with the introduction of Tarosa in their life, and also as a society too, as Tarosa grows up along the years too. Tarosa also helps them advance as a society because he invents stuff like numbers for them to count. He invents cheese by like drying some milk one day, and even invents alcohol after leaving some grapes out in the sun too long. Now, all this stuff makes up God-tier slice of life premise, but there's a plot too. Tanukis are at the bottom of the food chain. You want to know what tanukis are above? They're above like grasshoppers and fruit, but everyone's above fruit. So it's Tarosa's dream, nay his job, nay his destiny to unite all the animals of the forest. He needs to unite caterpillars, the rabbits, the frogs, the birds, the spiders, the bears, and the lions. Okay. It melts your heart to see what was once predator and prey living together as family and friends near the end. So the plot lends itself to some pretty heavy stuff, and there's some great action scenes along the way too. And it deals with a lot of serious issues that I'm super surprised to see in a shonen. Makoto Raikou probably got away with this because he used animals instead of humans. And there's a certain charm that comes with using animals instead of humans, which sets this series apart from a lot of others. So, coming from the creator of Zatchbell, you can expect a lot of derp in this manga. But it's kind of a serious derp too, because even during the scene, as derpy as these faces are, I cried during it because it's actually a really emotional scene. But overall, yeah, it's still really derpy. Even if you hate stupid, silly things in serious mangas, I definitely recommend this still, because the serious things, you can basically ignore the silly things if you hate that kind of stuff. And if you're a fan of Zatchbell, definitely check this out, because they even reference Zatchbell at one point too. Youmacon, or Ponygon's just there too. Also, I like this art by Makoto Raikou. But don't worry, it stays super serious throughout the whole time. Now, while the beginning of this manga is super strong, the final act, it kind of shifts genres and kind of goes down from a god tier to like only a top tier in my opinion. But it's still really good, and the ending itself, like the final chapter, is still really rewarding and worth it. So, as for why the series isn't very popular, it's probably because it stars a bunch of stupid-looking animals. Now, this I went into pretty in-depth. Some mangas I do that for, but most of them I just kind of do small breathe-throughs, like this next one, which is Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. Now, who's read this? Oh, you? Okay, give him candy. Oh, he has to. It's really good. Now, this series takes place after the end of the world, and it's about a small robot, who you can see here, Alpha, who runs a small cafe, coffee cafe. This series isn't meant to have a plot or anything, but it's mainly supposed to calm you with its, and fill you with a sense of wonder with its rich and charming art. There's also tons of small mystery aspects along the way that are made to entice the reader, like Alpha's obsession with flying, or this mysterious naked feral girl who just shows up from time to time within the manga. This manga isn't meant to solve any of the mysteries, they're kind of left open in the air. Give that person who is wearing the School Life hat and being a School Life cosplay candy. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, yeah. Everything about this manga is simply breathtaking, from its mystery of why the humans are gone or what exactly happened to cause the end of the world. But it's overall really charming and just great to read. Simply breathtaking, if I say so myself. It also had two episode OVAs if you're not keen to reading things and would rather watch something. And it's probably not very popular generally because it's, like I said, completely no plot. And other things that do what it does just as well, like Aria, are a bit more popular because you know they have an anime. Has anyone read or watched Aria? Yeah, okay. I'm not talking about Aria, so don't get candy. So. I like Aria, but I like this more. Now, what's the best art in all of manga? Raise your hand, or like shout out.
Rurouni Kenshin.
No. Some people say One Punch Man, actually. Some people say Berserk.
Yeah.
Some people say Otoyo Megatari. But you guys are all wrong. It's kaiji. Look at that emotion. Look at those faces. They like capture the sincerity of pure raw emotion. Has your art style ever become a meme in Japan being parodied? I'm sorry, has your art style been parodied in Gintama and Naruto at one point? I don't think so. And by the way, I'm joking. I realize this art is crap, but I like talking about it. Now, this is Nobuyuki Fukumoto, who is the author of Kaiji and Akagi, which have these very distinct art styles, which are also pretty popular because they have anime, so I won't be talking about them. But who here's read or watched Kaiji or Akagi or other Fukumoto mangas? Yeah, you guys are cool. Now, Fukumoto mangas are generally deal with dark stories that contain psychological mind games through the use of normal games like rock, paper, scissors, golf, and at even one point, Uno. On top of that, even when the series has nothing to do with weird games and it's about more, let's say, a middle-aged man trying to make friends, it's not really slice of lifey as it sounds, it becomes more psychological. Also, there's weird out-of-context scenes in Fukumoto mangas like this, which I enjoy. Also, the creator basically pioneered the use of the sound effect Zawa, so if you ever see this in a series, it's parodying kaiji, basically. Fun fact. Now, there's one manga, I met plenty of people that have read a bunch of Fukumoto mangas, and I love them for it, but there's one manga I've never actually met anyone who's read, though, that's from the creator of Fukumoto, and that is Riding Guy. So, has anyone read this? Nope? Oh well. Okay, cool. So, maybe it's not because it's as good as a lot of other Fukumoto's mangas, maybe because, like, obviously a lot of people don't read his manga because of the weird art, but I think this one is still really solid, and you should definitely check it out if you're a fan of his works. And even if you're not a fan and you don't mind the art. Riding Guy is about, well, Guy, as he's on the run from the law for a crime he did not commit. He surrenders to not cause too much commotion from erupting, and has to prove his innocence from the inside of a detentionary juvenile facility. Anyone watched The Red Rainbow? Yeah, Red Rainbow. Guy has been alone his whole life, which is why he's labeled as an outcast. So he has the whole world going against him in this story. I don't want to go too much into detail about what Guy and a lot of the other inmates have to suffer through, but it gets really intense at times, and it was actually pretty hard to read at times with what was happening to the inmates. It also makes you question if similar scenarios happen in real life, considering how badly prisoners are treated nowadays. Also, Guy's method of proving his innocence is pretty great. Also, why it's not very popular is obviously because of its art. Yes. Other fans of Fukumoto, like Kaiji and Akagi, should also check out these mangas, I guess. This is Gambling Emperor Zero, which is about this genius named Zero who competes in a fun carnival-like death minigame area. His luck, who gets hired by a bunch of money launderers, and he has to perform difficult tasks with that. 10, which is actually the sequel to Akagi. Akagi was made to be the prequel to this, which is about 10 on his path to becoming the best Mahjong player ever. I've read all of it and all of Akagi, still don't know how to play Mahjong. And Legend of the Strongest Man Kurosawa, which is my personal Fukumoto manga, which is about a 40-year-old virgin trying to make friends with his co-workers. As stupid as that sounds, it's really good. Also, people who have read Kurosawa don't realize that there's a part 2 coming out right now, and it's just as good, so check that out. Again, probably they're not that popular because of the weird art. Like, I don't think anyone would want to, like, read a manga with that dude with that big of a chin. Like, just browsing manga here and be like, oh, should I? You should. Now, this next manga doesn't have much to do with Riding Guy, except for the fact that they're both in jail for part of it. And that is Watashi Tachi no Shawasai ga Jikan, or Our Happy Hours. Has anyone read this?
Like one shot?
Okay, I love this one. Now, this is actually an adaptation of a novel by the same name by Gong Yi-young, who is a South Korean novelist and one of the more popular ones there. This is a 8-chapter, 1-volume manga, so you have no excuse not to read it because it's so short, which deals with the love story between a suicidal pianist and a convict who is on death row. Its brevity really lends itself to how powerful this manga is, and it's almost impossible not to cry or at least feel very sad throughout the entirety of this manga. It's heartwarming to see how 2 completely different people find comfort in one another, and it melts and breaks your heart at the same time, especially with its ending. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a fan of any of Makoto Shinkai's works, like 5 centimeters per second, or Garden of Words. Yeah, Garden of Words I love. Check this one out. It's probably not that popular because of how short it is, but it's really worth the read. It's like number 5 on my anime list or something. It's that good. Okay, so, ladies, close your ears. This is for the men in the audience. Not really, but this is part of the joke. Don't you hate it when you're like a 50-year-old guy and society hates you and like everyone bullies you, and then one day you're out walking your dog and then you see a bright light in the park and then you get hit by something, then you wake up and you're a robot? I hate when that happens too, man. Now, this is Inuyashiki. In English, it's called Inuyashiki. It's a name. It's not Inuyasha. Has nothing to do with Inuyasha. It's Inuyashiki. Has anyone read this? Those all candy. Inuyashiki is about, well, I just told you. Ichiro Inuyashiki is a man who is diagnosed with cancer and becomes a robot. Like, that's it. Like, literally. Yeah. Without going into too many spoilers, there are other characters in the series who also become robots. Like this dickweed who's obsessed with Gantz. Oh, by the way, this is from the creator of Gantz. Yeah. No, and I think referencing your series in your own series is kind of a bit gratuitous, but the fact they made the bad guy be obsessed with it makes it really funny. And by bad guy, I mean a guy who murders a girl's entire family and then asks her questions about manga. Like, I love that scene, like, holy crap. This is how I flirt.
He's not joking.
This is straight off of Crunchyroll. These aren't fake translations or anything. Oh, this is on Crunchyroll, by the way. Yeah, it's good. Now, the main theme of this manga is how people deal with power and how different people are when dealing with said power. Ichiro continues to live his life normally-ish, just flying around testing out his powers safely-ish. Well, the bad guy, ironically named Hiro, is doing stuff like that. Oops. Is doing stuff like that. And also messing with people on 4chan, or 2chan, which lends itself to some pretty hilarious scenarios and dialogue as well. This manga is utterly ridiculous, yet serious and solemn at the same time, but if you've read Gantz, that's what you'd expect from the creator of Gantz. Why it's not very popular is probably because on manga websites they use a picture of the dude's, or like Ichiro Inuyashiki's face, does it? And like, I don't think anyone would want to click a manga that just has this ugly old guy's face on it. And they could be clicking stuff with like hot anime girls or cool shonen guys with swords, but no, I picked this one. I definitely never read it. Now, did you ever want to read Death Note, but it stars the main character of Welcome to the NHK, and instead of having Death Note powers, he has powers like Yusuke Urameshi? Well, this is the manga for you. It's called Shumatsu no Tenki, or Catastrophe Report, being very recent. Has anyone read this? Oh, dude, I like your taste. Me too. Now, this is one of the most recent and kind of hard to judge mangas on this list. The author describes this as a story of destruction dedicated to a certain person who thought there are too many people, too many unnecessary people in this world. And what I mean by that is, the main character one night is confronted by this mysterious hooded figure, the main character being a normal 25-year-old me. Now, the mysterious hooded figure tells him, you choose, use swords. Unnecessary people, necessary people. When you point your finger at them, or when you've decided, point your finger at them and say, bang. And then the person dies, just like that. So yeah, it's like Death Note, except the power is way more easy to use, and the main character isn't some, like, school kid. He's like this borderline insane NEET already. Can you imagine if a guy like this just has to go all Jotaro Kujo to be able to kill anyone? Yeah, I wouldn't like that. I want to go more in depth in this manga and talk about more things that happen, but basically everything after chapter 4 is a spoiler at this point, because it gets really, really weird and everything changes constantly. The entire series and the main character and the readers themselves get turned on their heads constantly. But if you're into that kind of thing in manga, like I am, definitely check this one out. Also, because it's so new, I can't guarantee it won't get bad eventually, but I don't think it's bad at all right now, so definitely check this out. Now, another manga similar to how weird it is Tenku Shimpan, or The High-Rise Evasion. Has everyone read this? You're cool, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool.
Thanks.
So, by weird, I mean, this is a story about a girl who walks into a building one day, sees this dude killing someone, he has a weird mask on, and then it turns out she's on top of a skyscraper now. There's other weird masked people killing each other, trying to become the person who is closest to God. That's literally it. Yeah, it's weird. If you like weird stuff, weird people killing weird things, you don't know what's going on, definitely recommend check this manga out. Also, I saw a cosplay of it at CosmoCon last year, or earlier this year. Anyone knows who that is? Like, that person's really cool. I'm happy about that. Okay. Now, this next one's really old and really weird, but it's it's called Billy Bat by Kevin Yamagata. Don't let its cutesy art style fool you. This series has tons of death and politics and gore once in a while. And, oh, I don't think this chapter's finished yet, because its creator, Kevin Yamagata, is busy making it, who is the star of this other manga that's currently going on called Billy Bat. The joke was that he makes a manga in Billy Bat called Billy Bat. You can get it. Has anyone read Billy Bat? Now, this is from Naoki Urasawa, who is my favorite manga author. You may know him for The Legendary Monster, the really good but not legendary 20th Century Boys. Show your shirt, Crosby. Show your shirt. You have a 20th Century Boys shirt on. I love it. Or Pluto, which is a recreation of the classic Astro Boy arc. Astro Boy being the ultimate trendsetter, basically. Now, yeah, these three are really good, Pluto, 20th Century Boy, and Monster, but they're more popular than Billy Bat, so that's why I'm not really talking about them right now. Well, all Naoki Urasawa's mangas are insanely consistent and really well made. Billy Bat flies under a lot of people's radar, it seems. Maybe because it's so recent, maybe because it's so Holy Mother of God weird, but whatever the case, it's just not as big. And I don't think it should be dwarfed by the other bigger mangas he made, because in my personal opinion, I think it's just as good, if not better, than, say, 20th Century Boys or Monster. Now, Billy Bat is about Kevin Yamagata, who chose to be a manga author. That's what he does with his life, which isn't very convenient when people are dying. Kind of sucks. He should have picked a better profession, like some other Naoki Urasawa main character I can think of. Kevin Yamagata not only draws the bat, but he can see the bat as well. And there are tons of other people around the world drawing and seeing the bat as well. This dude, this kid on the playground somewhere, it's even written in sand on other places. And by seeing a bat, I mean bats, plural, because there's a good bat and a bad bat. A black bat and a white bat, except they look the same, so I don't know why they're called the black bat and the white bat, but whatever. Also, if you can't tell, I really like mangas that are really weird and you don't know what's going on that aren't done yet, like the last 4 things I've been talking about. So, yeah, I just got them out of the way real quick, in case you're not thinking about that. But, so I'm going to talk about Billy Bat some more. People don't only draw the bat or see the bat, they pray to the bat, they see shadows of the bat, they fight over a scroll containing a picture of the bat, which may or may not be a time machine. Yeah, like actually though. And this series also connects the bat to a lot of real-world people and life events. Like, the bat can be seen by Judas Iscariot, so it goes back to biblical times for a while. Lee Harvey Oswald is one of the main characters, actually, for a while. It also connects up with Marilyn Monroe, the creation of Coca-Cola, and Einstein, who sees the bat at one point. This also leads itself to the greatest out-of-context scene I've ever seen in manga. This is Einstein, by the way, after a manga author shows him a picture of the bat. Einstein, he knows what's up. There's even fun parallels to Disney with the bat, and with this like Walt Disney looking dude who has his own little show about the bat. It's great. If I had to pick any manga it's most similar to by Naoki Urasawa, I'd probably pick 20th Century Boys because it's completely non-linear with its storytelling. Also, the bat just shows up from time to time when you don't expect it, like Friend does once in a while. The series also sometimes deals with racism and civil rights movements, which I really like because you don't really ever see that in the manga, besides the Fishman Island arc. Anyways, as for why it's not popular, I've kind of already said, but it's just because it's so weird and so recent. And I know I kind of didn't really tell you guys the plot, that's because it kind of really isn't one. It's kind of just weird things happening. I don't really know how to describe it, but I love it for that. Now, this next one's a bit more popular than the others, but I love it, so that's why I'm going to talk about it. Oyasumi Pun Pun, Good Night Pun Pun. Who's read this? Yeah, like I said, one of the more popular ones. Now, this is a great slice of life, and it's about a normal boy named Pun Pun who does normal things like talk to God, who is that, and look like this. That's Pun Pun, by the way. He's a human, he just looks like that. Yeah. I don't find things weird normally. This is the most weirdest and unnerving manga I've ever read. Like, I'm normally not afraid by things, but this manga truly feels me with dread. I'll go over a bit more, too. Everything about this manga is to make you feel really uneasy, and yet still somehow sympathize with a lot of the characters, despite the horrible things they do throughout the series. The simplicity of Poon design, in my opinion, is what draws you in. Being a silly little bird design somehow allows you to connect to him a lot better than, say, a human character, in my opinion. Also, when his design changes throughout the series, which it does, it affects you, in my opinion. The author of the series tried to make it undefinable and be like nothing anyone's ever read before, and I think he did an amazing job at that. Also, I saw a Poon cosplay yesterday, so good on those people. Does anyone know who these are? Because they get a lot of candy, they do. Okay. Now, who's ready for some more dark and serious manga, am I right? Yeah. Who's ready for some fun, lighthearted, straightforward manga? Yeah! Also, if you're wondering, I will be talking about this manga if you recognize it later, not right now. And this image right here is a direct reference to this image. Like, actually, though, it's hilarious. Now, this next one's also really popular, if not the most popular thing in my panel, and it is Raid Master, or the Groove Adventure Raid in Japanese. Yeah, who's read this? Yeah, love Raid Master. Now, I know you might be thinking, if you haven't Raid Master, isn't this just a worse fairy tale, basically? No, I have to disagree, it's a better fairy tale. With characters as simple as they are impactful and memorable, this is a huge shonen epic that truly captures the wonders and mystique of a fantasy world while still having a super hard-hitting plot. Another factor that makes it better than fairy tale is that Haru and Ellie are really shippable, unlike a certain other pair I know about. While the art may not be up to par as fairy tale, because you know it's Hiromashima's first works, the designs are very quirky and lovable, and the series, while kind of being droll and kind of a bit too kid-friendly for the first 7 or so chapters, which is kind of a flaw, but after that it gets pretty decently dark, but never really over so, and never too like edgy so, because you still have stupid characters like this being present throughout the manga. This series also features some amazing storytelling elements and plot points, like anyone that's read the manga knows what I'm talking about when I put up that picture of a skelly man. And it's able to do all this without having stupid time travel elements or conflicts stupider than anything in Naruto that then get resolved in 10 chapters. Like, love it. This is the #1 feel-good mainstream shonen. I can't recommend this manga enough. Its only flaw is being it's really generic, but it knows it's generic and it works with it really well. So that's why I love it. So, fans of JoJo in the audience, stands are really cool, right? Yeah. Coolest power ever. And you know what's a cool stand? Purple Haze. He has poison. He was so powerful he had to be written out of the series. That's how broken he was. You know who writes Purple Haze? Or the song Purple Haze? Jimi Hendrix. It would be cool if there was some other manga that features stands and Jimi Hendrix. Wouldn't it? Oh wait. Do you see this? This is a manga that exists. And it's amazing. This is the Shiori Experience, Jimi na Watashi to Hen na Oji-san. Has anyone read this? Yes. This manga is amazing. This exists, and it's amazing. Shiori Experience is about a high school English teacher named Shiori Honda, whose only wish in life is to find the right guy and live a happy, normal life, until she's visited by a spirit, who happens to be Jimi Hendrix. And all he wants to do with her is jack in, as you say, which is just simply putting an aux cord into the back of her neck, so he can basically officially become her stand and they can rock out. For all Jimmy wanted to do before he died was play more guitar. Also, the teacher's only 26 for some reason, which is apparently a plot point. Oh wait, here's Jimi Hendrix's Wikipedia page. Oh, wait, I wonder what that's up. Oh, okay, well, that explains it. Through the powers of Jimi Hendrix, and in general the uniting powers of music, Shiori brings rock back into the school. Shiori inspires herself and the people around her to once again be passionate about music. And it's not just Jimi Hendrix who's doing all this. The main character, Shiori, is once a member of an old band, light music club band, And it's the skill that she inherited from that being in the band that truly helps her be great. And this manga is serious and intense for being a lighthearted manga. This ain't no K-On kind of crap. This ain't even no Sound Euphonium kind of crap. Also, fans of Sound Euphonium in the audience? Did you hear it's getting a season 2? Like, literally announced like today or something. I just got happy when I read that. This manga is intense, by the way. Like, I can't stress how good enough it is, but I will more. It's so heartwarming and cool to see characters do things that they're genuinely love and are passionate about, and everyone's just so happy when they rediscover their love of music. With all music animes, I want to get, or manga, I really want this to get animated because I just would love hearing it. I don't know if Jimi Hendrix is copyrighted or something in Japan preventing this from getting an anime, but I would love to see it. It's probably not that popular though, because it's only recently been scanlated, like, I forget when, like I think earlier this year, despite being out since 2013. Also, its ridiculous premise makes people think that, oh, this is probably just stupid, but no, it's people that have actually read the manga know it's really good despite its ridiculous, stupid premise. Now, this next one has really nothing to do with this, I'll just go in right into it. It's called Orange. Who's read Orange? Orange is great. Now, this is a God-tier shoujo about a girl who finds a letter from her future self one day. The letter contains a message that goes over something tragic that's going to happen to them soon. As more and more letters come, she finds out more and more about herself, and more about herself and the people around her. And the entire thing will tug on your heartstrings the entire time. And I don't really want to go too much into it, but just at the end of the long day, when everyone's happy at the end of the day, it kind of breaks your heart too because of what you know is inevitable and what they try to prevent. Also, it's getting a live action movie, so if you don't, not a person who likes reading manga, which I don't know when you come to this panel before, yeah, look forward to that. Now, I've said it before and I've said it again, I love manga. You know what's also cool? Manga about making manga, am I right? Manga about authors conspiring against the industry, right? Tons of research and studying and competitions between other manga authors, plus the whole like making a name and making a beta aspect, plus like, you know, trying to see who has the highest rankings every week and making sure the rankings stay cool. I love that in this manga. But what if they did a different approach? What if there was manga out there about making manga that was more realistic and heartfelt, something that focuses entirely on growing up and improving your art and your social life along the way, a manga that's entirely accurate because it's completely based off of real-life events from the author, and it is also about improving your art and is accurate to the struggles of improving your art. And I think that sounds pretty good, which is why I'm going to be talking about a manga called Mangaka-san to Assistant-san. Yeah! No. We will be talking about Man Girl. Yeah! No. We will actually be talking about Kaku Kaku Shika Jika. Who's read this? Now, if the art style seems familiar, it's because it's by the creator of Princess Jellyfish. Now, this is an autobiographical josei manga about the creator of Princess Jellyfish and her, basically how she began and how she became a mangaka, or got more into making manga. It's about her, Akiko, who dreams of being a manga author and having her series be made into an anime by Studio Pierrot. And then one day she meets an old man who becomes then her teacher, sees her art, and then tells her it sucks and that she needs to get good. That's it. The highlight of the series is definitely the relationship between the teacher and Akiko. Their dynamic throughout the whole series makes it hit really close to home, probably because a lot of these events probably happened in real life, and it's also adorable the whole way through. There's also scenes where it cuts back to present time, and it's the main character reflecting on like the events she did, or what she did. And I really like those scenes, and that's all I can really say. It's really good manga. It's better than Princess Jellyfish in my opinion, so if you're a fan of Princess Jellyfish, check out this. It was also so good it won an award. Oh, and so did Dobutsu no Kuni, by the way, but yeah, we're not talking about that anymore. And I just look, what?
She has a current series that's on hold because people were protesting against it.
Oh, the one that stars the, I know what you're talking about, yeah. It's not scanlated, so I haven't read it or anything, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, check out her other mangas, they seem kind of cool. But, yeah, and I just really like her now. She's adorable because she's so adorable in the manga too. Like, that's her reaction to her first ever manga coming published. I just think that's cute. Oh, doing pretty good. Cool. Also, I can't come back to you. This phone is in Italian settings, so like Sabato 31 Ottobre 1606. Just 306, or 406. Yeah. So confusing. I hate your phone. Anyways, now this is an oldie but a goodie, the next one, and it is Hinotori, or Phoenix. Oh yeah, there we go. Love Phoenix. This is from the legendary godfather of manga, Osamu Tezuka. You may know as the creator of Astro Boy, Blackjack. He invented shoujos, he invented seinens. Yeah, he basically makes sure manga is popular nowadays, and any manga art style you see now is directly linked to back the old school art style of Astro Boy and whatnot. Or not all the art styles, but most of them are. Now, Phoenix is about, well, a phoenix whose blood will grant you immortality, like any phoenix blood would. Phoenix is actually very arc-based, and it takes place in various different times and places, like in the future, or in this world where this dude fuses to the head of a wolf because he was killed right next to the body of a wolf. It's weird, but the whole thing is amazing, and it deals with, the whole thing is amazing, and it is just all stories that are about life and a celebration of mortality, and all the stories feature the phoenix and characters trying to achieve that immortality, and like kind of paying for the trying to achieve it or achieving it aspect. And it's not, the series and arcs aren't just linked through the Phoenix, like certain characters are ancestors or descendants of other characters, and stuff like that really draws the whole thing together. And it's also super thought-provoking considering it's something made over 50 years ago, or almost 50 years ago. Is it? Yeah, almost 50 years ago. This is what Osamu Tezuka called his life work, and he worked on it, until the day he died. Unfortunately, it's not finished, but due to its or technically didn't finish it, but due to its arc-based nature of it, not being finished doesn't dilute the quality. Also, I saw Phoenix cosplay yesterday, and that was really cool, so yeah. Yeah, I saw them downstairs earlier too, but yeah, I saw this one yesterday. Phoenix is great. Now, there's a genre that kind of gets lost lack, and I know why, and it's called harem genre. Who likes harems? You guys are all wrong, harem suck. But there is one good harem out there, and it's called... shoot. Jitsuwa Watashiwa. Who's read this? Yeah. Danny loves this manga. So, if you like manga, or harem mangas, you should read this one. This is an actually good one. It's a harem between a vampire, a demon, a robot, an alien, a gender-fluid nymphomaniac werewolf, a teacher, a normal girl, a time traveler with a giant dragon, and an angel. So now you obviously want to read this manga, so I'm not going to go too much more in depth into this. But despite how ridiculous it seems, this manga is actually really good, has an amazing narrative, and sets itself up for some god-tier reaction images, which I love. What? Yeah, you get one for all of them. Yeah, get handed. It's probably not that popular because of its weird faces and its art style. Also, the anime adaptation wasn't that good, so people that watched that probably never really felt like going to the manga, but if you watched it and liked it, and even if you didn't, you should definitely check out the manga. This is great. What's the next one? Oh, this one's also kind of trashy like mangas, and it's called, or like harems, and it's called Nomi Joshi, or Drinking Girls. Has anyone read this? Yeah, okay, give this, one person candy. This is just a 4-coma about 29-year-old women doing 29-year-old things, and it's just kind of funny. And the reason I like it is because, true men in the audience, I know you're out there, the age of lolis is gone now because of this manga. The age of moe older women is finally upon us, and it's great. Why is who there? They're all moe older women. Johan's so sexy.
Wait, what? Go back.
What?
Yeah, there was a lolly on the previous page that's 40 years old. I'm dressed from that manga.
What? Oh yeah, Madaka. Oh yeah, you are. Yeah, she's still a loli. I don't care if she's still a loli.
She here is not a lolly.
Yeah, I mean, she's a lonely older woman, but no, she's a loli.